Share my screen. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
And welcome. So, Mary, will you play for us this morning?
Okay.
Mary. Okay, our invocation this morning will be Cliff Thomas.
Would you join me in prayer, please? Dear God, kindly bless this gathering of Rotarians this morning. During these times, please help us to see and remind us of those in need, and vouchsafe us the strength and wisdom to serve our Norman community as we should. Help us, God, we pray, in these difficult times to help lift the burden of others while we maintain the dignity of mankind. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Cliff. Our Pledge of Allegiance this morning will be, and four-way test will be Jack Beller.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, announcements this morning. Do we have any happy dollars? Anything to celebrate?
I have one. We
Okay.
got our house. We recently moved in January, and we put our house on the market, and we had a contract within 24 hours, and we closed on March the 1st. So step 2 in retirement.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Yes, I have one. This is David. Kimberly Sutton is joining us this morning as a guest. She is interested in joining Sooner Rotary. So welcome to Kimberly. She works at Edward Jones, and I'm glad she's able to join us this morning. And again, welcome, Kimberly. Glad to have you this morning.
Thank you for the welcome. I'm glad to be here. Excited to learn more about the group.
Kimberly, are you at the Edward Jones on, I can't think it's, there in Norman? I'm trying to think of the road.
I am in Norman. I'm leasing an office out of Jake Rowley's office. So it's on 26th Avenue behind the Mile of Cars.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much. What are happy dollars? Sorry.
Anytime somebody has something they want to celebrate or recognize another Rotarian, or their children's or grandchildren's birthdays or births, or just anything that you want to share with the club.
Gotcha. Thank you.
They can be any increments of $1 on up.
Okay, great.
And they all go to Polio Plus.
Yes, good point. Very, very good point.
I have a happy dollar, Jonna.
Okay, Jane.
So last week, I was Natalie Lim Taylor had posted something on her Facebook page. Her parents are moving into the city from the countryside out in the Newcastle area. She called it no man's land. And they had like a stray cat that her mom had kind of adopted, but they can't take with because her dad is really allergic to cats. So we adopted it because we're weird that way, but we have a new cat. So we'd like to celebrate the addition of the new kitty cat to the household. So anyway.
Awesome. What's his name?
He's a real sweetheart. He's a big cat, but he's a real sweetheart.
And what's his name?
We settled on Salem in honor of the 90s kids show Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There was a black cat on that show, and my daughter was a big fan of it. So there we go.
Very nice.
You have to show him off.
I'll have to round him up first. So anyway,
happy dollars. Okay, let's see. Let me check the chat quick. Okay, next announcement, Lunch Buddies. Whoops, wrong way there. Jennifer, can you confirm, is that tomorrow, Wednesday?
And
The announcement that went out said Monday, February 10th, but I'm guessing it's tomorrow. At the meeting place at 11:30. Are you still here, Jennifer? Well, we'll make sure a second announcement goes out about that. That's being hosted by Peggy Ferris. And the meeting place is on Main Street in Norman. And it's always fun to get together and visit and have fellowship with everyone. This Friday, there's going to be the board meeting on the 12th at 7 a.m. And I'll be sending out a link to that. That one, we are going to be discussing one of the topics of discussion, and we're going to have a guest. David, you want to talk about the guest, where she's from? This is the discussion topic will be the Satellite Club.
Yes, the guest will be the present district governor from Southwest Louisiana, the Lake Charles area is, I believe, where she's from. And they've had great success with their satellite clubs in their area. So she's just going to tell the board members some of the experiences they've had and the success they've had. Unfortunately, I will not be there as I have a previous engagement. I will be down at Ada Sunrise at 6:45 that morning doing a membership presentation for their group. So, but she'll be a very good representative for the Satellite Club and talk about how it's worked down in their area. So that'll be on Friday.
Okay, thanks, David. The board meeting, everyone is always welcome to attend the board meetings, but that one may have be particular interest to other club members, and she's supposed to log in at 7:30 for her portion. So like I said, I'll send out a link later today for the board meeting on Friday. Another thing, the district service project is still scheduled for April 24th. Connie, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm still looking for someone from Sooner Club to help on the planning committee. I visited Legacy Club and got an immediate response from one of their members that yes, they want to help. So this will be a lot of fun, I think, for all four clubs to get together in service and in fellowship on April 24th, which is a Saturday. So please contact Jonna or myself if you would like to do that, be on the planning committee. Because even though I'm a member of the club, I'm going to need somebody from the club to actually do that liaison work. So
I saw a hand raised, Jane.
Connie, I'm your Huckleberry.
okay, way to go, Huck.
Do we have any other announcements? A little bit of a slow time of year, and this week.
Don't forget to vote today if you're in an odd numbered ward,
Okay, thanks, Mary.
if you haven't voted already.
Thank you. Okay, well, we will move on to our program this morning. Was somebody going to say something? Okay. This morning, our program is going to be about the Dimensions Academy here in Norman. And we have guests today with us. I'm going to probably butcher your name, Paul. Paul Frigestad, the Director of Dimensions, and Linda Mace, the Assistant Director of Alternative Education for the district. We had their bio in the bulletin, but in case you didn't get a chance to read it, Paul is in his 18th year as an administrator in Norman and his 28th year in education. He was an assistant principal at Norman High for 9 years before becoming the director at Dimensions in 2012. Now, he and his wife's a Norman native, and she's also a teacher, and they have 4 kids and 2 dogs. Linda Mace is in her 13th year as an administrator for Norman Public Schools, and she's been in education for 23 years. During her career, she's been a classroom teacher, a coach, an assistant principal, and head building principal before she transferred to the Dimensions Academy to serve as assistant director of alternative education.
Yeah.
Linda and her husband have 8 children, and 4 boys and 4 girls, and 6 of which are married and have provided them with grandchildren. And she's got 3 grandchildren due this year, which includes a pair of identical twin girls. So that's exciting. So welcome, you all. I will stop sharing my screen so the group can see both of you. And we're looking forward to hearing about Dimensions.
Oh, we sure are. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So we're excited to be here today. I'd like to, in fun, give Linda a hard time for not asking me what my thoughts were on the photo we were going to use. I thought I was using like a work photo with a blue background. The next thing you know, she's got her photo from the beach. And so now I'm on my camera roll. You know how that goes. You're going back through trying to find something that's not too old. And so well, that was fun. You got to, thanks to Linda, got to get a pic of our spouses. And but we've been working together for about 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
So,
This is our 6th year together. Yeah.
yeah. So
and our spouses are our better halves, by the way, both of them. So for sure.
Yeah, and as you were telling, as you were reading my bio and all of you that raised children, I'm in the midst of it. I got teenagers. Linda's are out of the house, but the dogs become such an important part of that bio because they'll actually listen to you, won't snap at you when you say their name, and might actually do what you ask. So right. we love our children. I got great kids. So so what we're going to do is we've got a PowerPoint here. I'm going to share the screen, and this is not our first time to talk to a group or a Rotary, but it's the first time to go through this in a Zoom format. So, but we've been doing a lot of Zooming, I guess you could say, this year. So we're getting used to talking to a lot of faces staring at us. And all right, so let me hit share.
We've even started doing trainings through Zoom. My staff has. So when you do it that way, we use our Zoom TVs and you can see no one. So you're just presenting to the screen of your own PowerPoint. So that has been very interesting, but my staff's done a really good job. So we've recorded several trainings for the district to work with how to work with classroom management and things like that. So it's been new levels, new devils is what I say all the time.
Yeah, and I think before I get started on this, something that's really become so clear for us in our jobs, but I think you all have seen it in your workplace and families, out of hard times comes new ways of doing things. And I think sometimes being in this day where we're focused so much on, staying safe and not getting sick and keeping others safe around us, things just like these Zoom meetings, and there's so many other aspects of things we've changed how we do things that even after COVID, and hopefully that'll be soon, there will be new ways we would never envisioned of just living life, doing meetings. It's just, I think we'll come out on the other side with a lot of new skills and new ideas and ways of doing things. So I'm going to go ahead and hit do the present mode.
There you go.
Oh, good. I can still see you all. So let me, I'm going to turn, let me see here.
You and I found building up.
All right. So Dimensions Academy, we are excited to be in a new building. We've been in Dimension started back about, I'd say 1997 or 98. We had to kind of research the history and realized that there have been a lot of great people that back in the mid 90s had went before us, and just Norman Public Schools in partnership with Departmental Health had started the alternative programs back then, and they would eventually land in those mental health facilities and grounds over there on East Main. And so that's, I'd say back around 1997 or 8 when they landed there. And so it's been there for about the last 20 years. And so the district through the years has just had a, really heart for at-risk kids, has really made alternative ed a priority in our district. It's just, you could not put money into fixing up an old building. It's just state laws don't allow you to do that. And so, we did our best with those facilities, always had a great staffing ratio. That's, where they pour it. It's expensive to have lots of educators with a lower number of students, which is what you need in alternative ed. So, I'd say 5-6 years ago, the vision was out there with leadership of, people like Dr. Millie Reno and Justin Milner and Joe Ciano actually at the time too. It was kind of where it was just, what could they do to, find a new home for us? And so we were excited to land, find a place that's right centrally located, about as perfect as can be. As we're talking today, you'll realize that, as we're partnering with all the other schools, Linda, can you move ahead? I've got it. I guess my wife's calling and there's a situation at home real quick. So go ahead, Linda, and I'll click. So
Okay, as long as you'll click, I can move this on. So we put some in the PowerPoint, some pictures for you of the actual school. So he has shared his screen, but he has not shared with me the ability to click onto the next picture. So we wanted to, Paul, can you click to the next pictures? There you go. The facility is located on Finley. It's a 2-story building, and we had the opportunity to dream. And as we were told by one of our leaders, we'll only get to do this once. So dream and design big, and we were very blessed to get to do that. So this is the front of the building, and it's so welcoming. Just landscaping is a big deal to us, and it's the small things in life is what you finally figure out. And so we didn't have a lot of that at the other place, and it was a lot. And what we did have was challenging to have upkeep. And so just the fact that we have all the landscaping alone, the kids, and this is the front door where the kids are all dropped off in the mornings. This is the front entrance where you walk in the front door. My secretary sits here and greets all the guests, and it's a secure area, and we have not had that. That was one of our very big points that we wanted in our new building, was security for our students and our staff. So one of the things we got to do was reveal, we did a logo rebranding process, and going through that was super interesting and very, kind of had to do some soul searching, and why do we have the logo and the mascot we have, and what does that look like, and why would we want it that way? And so it was a really cool process. And so Plesky Management is the one who did our building, and this was a secret, was the shield that they had put in the floor. And so we had a big reveal with the staff only to show them what had been. So our students walk into this shield kind of represents, that we're here to protect strength. Knights carry shields, and there's some strength behind that. And so it's just, there's a lot behind the logo just in and of itself. This is one of our elementary classrooms. When I get to my part of the presentation, we emulate the regular classroom setting. As you can see, the district has provided for us just like a regular classroom. And you'll see on the far right, the windows. Windows are a big deal to teachers, in case you didn't know that. This is our library cafeteria area, and it's all one big. It is separated by different flooring, and to have a full library, we have a librarian that comes to our building about half of his time, because thanks to COVID, he's learned that he actually doesn't have to sit in his office to do his work either. And so it's really awesome. And to have a full have the cafeteria and everything right there. We smell lunch being cooked now, which is new for us. We did not have that before. We always try to put up creative signs for our kiddos. As you can see, there's more windows. And so the building has windows all the way around the outside, and they're big open windows, and our staff just love that. We have a commercial kitchen now. Before, we just kept the food warm that the district delivered. So this gives our students more options because they actually cook it on site. That's in the far left, that's a big convection oven, and the pizza that comes out of there smells amazing. This is a science room. This poor teacher at the other building had a small room that may have been used for storage at one time, not sure. She did the best she could, but now she actually has sinks and places for labs. She has a chemical closet. She has a eye wash station. She's doing science in her class just like they do at the regular high schools. This is one of our high school classrooms upstairs. It would be our English language arts teacher, and it's just wonderful. College and Career Center, where our kids often meet together and have a good time, and gather is in the College and Career Center, and so we have that place for them to be able to sit, and as you can tell by the chairs, socially distance. This is still a work in progress, and this would be our playground to the right, but you're looking at our new gym, something we did not have. And that shorter end is our storm shelter. Again, something we didn't have in the building from the 1940s. So, and this is a rendition of what our gym will look like. And I will tell you, in the process right now are the black lines on the floor, and they look just like that where they are in the process right now. And we are so excited. We have partnered with Norman Regional. And they actually donated this piece of land back to us where the gym sits. And so we are so excited that they are such a strong partner with Norman Public Schools. And so we are get to hang a banner for them in that gym. This is what our playground equipment will look like. And it is a new state-of-the-art flooring that will be out there that drains. And so water won't sit, and it's kind of spongy for the kids. And so we're really excited to have that for our kiddos. And so hopefully this spring, if we can stop rain and ice, we'll get to have our playground installed for sure. But they've got to play in the gym a little bit before the flooring started going down, and they're just really excited to have a gym. So they're pretty happy. And that's just where we have swings, and then there's an outdoor basketball court for the older kids. Any of our kids can use it, but we wanted to have a space for our kiddos. And if up at the top of that picture was a picture of the balcony. And that is part of one of our classrooms upstairs that we'll talk about.
So the purpose of, and thank you, Linda, the purpose of our program is, I think first of all, the vision, I kind of got past a slide there that we had on that first slide, which was connecting students to their future, restoring hope. And then I think we could one of the things that we like to say that we could add to that is meeting students where they're at and taking them where they need to be. So I think sometimes it's easy to think of maybe coming into this job, it would have been easy for me to think of, well, we need to get our main goal is to help these students get a diploma, which is so true. Whether it's a GED or diploma, they need one of the two moving on in life, but this program needs to be so much more than that. I think of a student, Trey, who came to us years ago, who wouldn't graduate. His life was hard. He made some poor choices. He would eventually drop out, but later he would come and report how he'd gotten his GED, how he was working and doing well. And you realized he was meant to be with us for a while, so we could pour into his life to help him get to where he needed to be, even if it wasn't a diploma. And that next item, multiple programs. So what's exciting about the building that we're in is we truly have 4 to 5 different programs all under one roof. I'm going to be talking about the high school program. Linda, she focuses on K-8, and also an evening program that we have going on. And then adult ed is now in our building under me. And so our coordinator, Mary Ellen Davis, is officed downstairs, just off the library. And then Expand Ed, the district's virtual program, is in the building. So if you think about it, someone in Norman, if a student in Norman is not seeming to have wanting an experience different than the brick and mortar school, whether they want to be online, they've started to tell their parents they want to drop out and get their GED, or they're interested in alternative education with dimensions, we're all right here. So, we're able to have a meeting of the right people that need to meet with that family to talk through what the different options are. In the past, if somebody was wanting to, look at the GED, we would tell them the address and the phone number and point towards Gray Street. But, at-risk students typically don't leave your office and then get in the car and drive down to that location or pick up the phone and set up an appointment. So I think, I don't know, I just feel like we're kind of a one-stop shop now, I guess you could say, for just people who are looking for an alternative way of doing school. Our purpose is to build relationships and community. We want to target academic and social emotional deficiencies. We see a lot of that all the way from a 6-year-old to a 20-year-old, and then facilitate behavior and social skills growth. And of course, we want to reduce the number of dropouts. So one of the biggest misunderstandings, I think, of alternative education going back for like a high school program is that that's where all, people will say it used to be this, hopefully not in Norman. I know it's not this way in Norman as much anymore, but that's where people were sent that got in trouble. And so the program that I'm talking about is Dimensions Academy, is an application program. At the end of the presentation, Linda, we do have a small high school program that really targets some students who have been in some trouble, and that is also in our building. But the Dimensions Academy is, there is a process to applying, going through an interview, and I've been looking through an application before. Students are asked to write an essay, and in that essay, just this happened this fall, there was one sentence, something like, "I'm not going to that school," or "My parents made me fill this out." Well, that's just not the right time for them to come to Dimensions. The reason we're successful is students want to be here, have really shown us that they have a commitment to being in school. And so they go through an interview. We also get input from the high school counselors and administrators. So we serve, I would say right now, 70 to 75 students at a time. Many people have asked, so in your new building, are you going to serve more? I used to say 65 to 70. With COVID, it's been kind of an odd year. We've got some students that are virtual. We're not serving a lot more students right now than we would have at the past in our old buildings. But we also realize that the success of the program is on the right kind of number of students to adults. We won't be a program that gets really huge. We have the space to grow, though. We've got an extra classroom or two. And so we can, add more students at some point if that seems to be the right thing to do. So things like teen moms, Bridges students. I was just looking through my list of students, and real quick, like I can't give names, but a student was in foster care but is now living with, an older brother who's his legal guardian. Another one who's 20-year-old female who mom died when she was 9, and so growing up she was the mom in the family to, with a bunch of younger siblings, and dad who worked. And so she's still trying to get that diploma. A male student who's at Bridges right now and being highly successful being with us. I could think of a couple who's had incarcerated parents. Another young lady has a parent that passed away and lives with her older sister who's going to OU. Her sister's working on a master's degree, and I think her sister's her legal guardian. Thinking of a young man who comes to us who, was evicted, and it took a couple weeks before he was back in school, just so he got his life settled in his new home on the east side of town. So those, and then I think teen parents, I can think of one who's having a baby here this month. And then mental health, like students who have really high anxiety and maybe they're having a panic attack walking into the big high school. Some of you might have a panic attack walking into a high school of 3,000 kids and the hallways are crowded. It's pretty stressful. So there's some that really struggle with just the bigness of a big high school, and just feel more of a sense of community. We graduate 30 to 40 students each year. Counseling is required, or I guess I could say strongly encouraged component. Departmental health is somebody we partner with, as they never turn anybody away who has a, money, has a issue with being able to pay. So it really is required that families go out and connect up with either a private agency or departmental health. We just feel that is so important. Our curriculum and instruction, so we're able to individualize. Most of our classes are, they do the work together, just like at the regular high school. They have five classes, but 9 weeks is a semester for us. So they can do the first half of English 3, for example, and the second half all in the fall. So they could do English 3 in the fall and English 4 in the spring, or algebra in the fall and geometry in the spring. And so they can earn some extra credits here. So many of them come in behind on credit. And then our teachers use multiple instructional formats. Because classes are smaller, we're able to, get creative in the way we present information. Many of our students, it just didn't work, the typical format. So, using project-based or individualized learning, finding ways to meet students where they're at and how they learn is what makes us successful. Climate and community, I left, as I was editing this PowerPoint, I realized some of these things with COVID we haven't been able to do, but I left them on there because that's who we are and what we do normally. So, meeting with parents, doing team building activities with the students. Before COVID, we would have a daily assembly in that big college career room that where the students could all sit. This year, we were doing a Zoom assembly once a week, and students just stay in their classrooms. That's our way to keep from having a huge group of people all in one room. And then we work hard to facilitate teacher-student and student-to-student connections. We've had a leadership group in the past, which we called the ambassadors, and that's something we want to get started again. And then we want to create a culture that connects students to their future. Again, our vision statement, connecting students to their future while restoring hope. So finding the interests these students have, bringing in speakers, to talk to students in areas that the students are interested in. We just had a counselor come in and talk to 5 students who are interested in being counselors. We've in the past had our students maybe go to the fire department to talk to some firefighters. There's just connecting our students to people in different fields, and then even looking for some job shadowing or job internship opportunities. We got going on that the last couple of years, and now with COVID, we're not doing any of that at the moment. But having student go by for the day over at Oklahoma Sports and Orthopedic to watch physical therapists, or Alameda Veterinary Hospital, let 1 or 2 of our students do an internship there. We've had Bold Media been by to visit and see what goes on, in their place. And so just things like that. And and then taking visits, going over to OCCC, more Norman, maybe take a group. We've had a group go over to OU before. And then I just said, bringing business leaders into our school. I guess I talked ahead on that slide. All right, so now you can tell Linda, with her elementary background, does a better job putting some color behind her slides and making it look pretty. So thank you for showing me up there, Linda. Go ahead.
I also do a lot of presenting for professional development. So this is kind of my thing, is to foof up the slide a little bit. So we downstairs are a K-8 we serve all the schools in Norman. So we work with every school, lots of administrators. So I have some strong building leaders under me who help me do that and manage all those plates that are spinning at one time. Because we want to work with the individual students, and we're working with students who are demonstrating some at-risk behaviors. And usually that stems from life at home or some trauma that they've had previously. And so that's kind of where we come on board. We work at the school site to vet those and determine which kiddos would most benefit from us. I won't read all the slides to you because I know you all can read through these. And what we do for our kiddos is the school site will contact us and say, hey, we have this kiddo that's really struggling. I'll send out a team member to do observations, and we'll take some data. We'll ask for the school's data because oftentimes they've already done some of their own data gathering and interventions and things. And we want to know what they've already tried, what didn't work. Then we meet as a team and debrief and talk about what we think will most benefit this child. Sometimes it is my staff creating different structures and strategies to put right into that classroom with that teacher, and we teach that teacher and we teach that child right there, and the child stays at their school site. Sometimes it is the child needs to come with us for a day or two, maybe a week, and we call those resets, and we just spend that time getting to know that child and really getting close with them. But then they go back to their school site and we go with them and transition back into their class and tell the teacher what we figured out would work for them, and they stay at their school site. Or they may end up on what we call a dual enrollment, which means part of their school day is with their homeschool site and part of their school day is with us. And that creates a whole process of setting behavior plans and progress monitoring and things that we do. And our goal is that they are at their homeschool site full-time always. And so once we do a dual enrollment, we build their time back at their school site incrementally. And so there's just a process to that my staff does. All right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're the clicker. Sorry, you didn't give me, I don't know how to get access to that. That's something I haven't learned on Zoom yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to click it here. Hang on. Why is it not? Oh, there we go. Did I go too far?
Back one. Go back one.
All right, there we go.
There you go. So once we get a kid connected with us, we connect them to wraparound services. And that involves, we strongly encourage counseling because we know the process and the strategies that we use only are sustainable if that family unit gets the counseling and support that they need, so that once the child is back at the regular site, they have connections of places to go. So we also use a curriculum called Why Try, and it was designed for at-risk students, and it's an amazing social emotional learning curriculum that I have a staff member who's trained, and she does all of the training. She's my counselor, and she does all of the classes with the students, elementary all the way through. She's even doing high school classes now. And it empowers the child. And it really talks on their level. It uses videos, it uses music and activities that the kids love. And to watch high schoolers be engaged in activities like that, and then an hour and a half later watch 6-year-olds be engaged in the same activities is really kind of awesome to watch. We provide food from the food bank. We have a pantry downstairs that we have food. We have clothing from the clothing closet. Our kids get to go to the school bell. We have lots of community connections. Thank goodness, lots of community connections. We also have the PTA Council for Norman also wraps around us because we don't have our own PTA, and helps take care of our teachers and give them the appreciation and love, and the other school sites. PTAs normally do that for them. And so that was something that we were so appreciative that the PTA Council specifically took that on for us. We have some great connections with local churches who provide for our students, who provide donations for us. And then we have an SRO, and he is from the Cleveland County Sheriff Department, not Norman PD like the other school sites. That started because we were on state property and we couldn't have Norman, but it's been such an incredible partnership that we didn't want that to end, and we got to keep him. And he is so amazing with our kiddos. And it truly is a personnel driven kind of position. And this year he delivered the Christmas gifts that were donated by a church and some different things. And he's always doing things with our kiddos. And so he's wonderful to have. We have what's called a student advocate counselor. There's one upstairs and downstairs. And this is a grant that the district, we're one of the few districts in the state that even have this type of grant. So children who are victim of crimes have this counselor particularly to get to visit with, and who helps us take any action that needs to be taken, but more so provide support for the student and the families. And so we have that from both upstairs and downstairs. So we have an evening program. When Paul and I interview students, we are really in our mind kind of trying to staff, because they come to us because there's a need. Someone has a need for them to reach out to us and complete that application. So we use this evening academy as an opportunity for us to kind of give students an opportunity to stabilize, because some students even struggle with the application program upstairs. They really, that's even too big for them at this time, or they work full time. Or I have one who has a 2-year-old and the only daycare she can get is her mom watching. So she wants to come in the evening. Never misses a night. She's always there. And so it's just, and sometimes life is just way too much at the regular high school. And we need to do what we call in our building is turn their sensors down and give them a place where they can just relax their shoulders and focus on learning instead of all the other stuff going on. So it is a smaller setting. They get one-on-one assistance from the teachers and from a math tutor that we have every night that we have 3 nights a week. We cook dinner for them so they don't have to worry about food. And so they have a hot meal, which my staff loves too, because then they don't have to worry about getting dinner when they work. It's only 3 hours, and we usually let them choose 2 nights. And this year is the first year that we've encouraged a 3rd night if they're not causing issues. And we have quite a few kiddos who are choosing that 3rd night and really getting through their courses now. And so that's really exciting. We've already had 2 graduate that were in our evening program this year and met their graduation requirements. So you can finish up through there. It's not our destination because it's really hard unless you are super motivated and you're doing a lot of outside time working on your classes. However, we do have those success stories that do that, but most often we get the kids stabilized and they then find the place that fits them. Some of them want to go back to the regular high school. Some of them start attending more Norman, or some of them even end up with Paul in his day program and are able to manage that once they have gotten some success, because success builds success, and so they're able to finally manage that. We are one of a kind. There's nothing like us in the state of Oklahoma. Paul and I serve on several state advisories, and so we, with other alternative ed leaders, and so we do know that we're pretty unique. We give our kids time with older kids. I have 5-year-olds in the building, and we have 20-year-olds in the building. So we do let them cross at certain times and let them mentor. You'll look at the playground and the kiddos who are waiting on the More Norman bus are playing soccer with the kids on the playground, the elementary kiddos. So it's pretty cool to get to see those kinds of interactions and things, and our kids benefit from that. We had a formal program when we had a street that split us so that the bigs came over. Well, now we're in the same building, so it doesn't have to be as formal, and COVID keeps it from being as formal as well. So we enjoy that. We do a lot of team building and social emotional activities. My staff, we're constantly talking about the key components of social emotional learning and that they need to have in their classroom, and that we need to as a building, because we need to build that resilience back for those kids of trauma and rewire their brains. And that's kind of what trauma does, is keeps your brain from wiring correctly. And so we're trying to get that rewired, and social emotional is the piece. Relationships are everything. And we have a non-negotiable in my building, and that is you call every student by their first name, pronounced correctly, and you greet them every time you see them. And that's, every adult does that. And so regardless of what happened 5 minutes ago or last week or yesterday, or you greet the kids, we're happy you're here, we want you here. And so that's a relationship builder, because they're asking us 2 questions when they come to school. Do you see me, and do you care? And so that's how we answer that to them, is that every adult acknowledges them and that they're there, and we call them by their first name. So we let our students apply the skills we teach them back at their school sites. We monitor that. We have what we call 10-day meetings, which means we meet with the parents in the school sites. And that's where we get to talk about how the successes. I have 5 meetings today. And even though we're remote, we have lots of meetings still going on with parents and families. So we're excited that we've found this way to continue on those things. And it's much easier for parents to meet this way from work on their lunch break or whatever than it was to come in person. So we're excited about that. We like to give our kids leadership opportunities, and we do that at the site level district, and they participate in the district level advisories just like other kiddos. And also we've had kiddos go participate in activities at the state level. So we want them to have a full education experience. So we do have high school students who are not in the application program, and they are placed by the district, by a team, by staffing. We just kind of have to work through things. What fits best for each student is individual. Sometimes they've had a behavior at the high school that says they can no longer attend there for a period of time. And so that is a phone call. Hey, I have a suspension. However, the student needs to be served. And so we figure out what that looks like. So our high school program does 3 hours in the morning class and 3 hours in the afternoon is another. We try as a general rule to do juniors and seniors in the morning, freshmen, sophomores in the afternoon. Really what I'm looking for is maturity level and dynamics, because certain kiddos, we probably don't want you to mirror this behavior. We need you to mirror these behaviors. So we vet that as a team when we do that. But we do take all students 9 through 12 in there. We identify the risk factors pretty quickly. So we have students who are placed with us but are not under any type of suspension. Mostly they're freshmen, sophomores. Research show that as a freshman, if you fail 2 or more courses in your freshman year, your potential for dropping out is just exponentially multiplied. And so we are keen on those kiddos, and we have a principal at each high school that we work really closely with who help us vet those students that we can help. We want to help them in 45, 60 days. They come to us for part of their school day on the dual enrollment. We help build those skills they need to be successful in high school and beyond, because apparently that's been missed somewhere, because we don't want them to fail. And so that's kind of what we're looking for when we're identifying the risk factors. We are a journey. We are not a destination. And I think that's one of the things that that I have worked hard since coming on board at Dimensions, is that we aren't a destination. We're an intervention, but we're part of the journey. And we know that, and we're a very important piece of the journey for many of these students and families. But the most praise that we can get is that you're at your regular high school or you're any of your regular schools and you don't need us anymore. That's what you can do for us. So I tell my staff all the time, we need to work ourselves out of the job. We need to be in the schools instead of in this building. However, we love our new building. So now that's being turned around. They really don't want to leave the building because it's beautiful. So we take our kids on field trips. We give them cultural experiences. We take them to the Philharmonic. We take them to the ballet. A lot of our students haven't gone on all of the field trips due to their behaviors in the past, and we get that, but we take them out. We take them to the parks. We take them in summer school. We go all over the place, and we even go out to eat with them. So we teach them those life skills that they need. So when we were given this opportunity, we were told to dream big. And so this was a dream I had. And so for my kiddos who are placed with us, I wanted a place where we could teach them life skills. We could make them feel special. We are the crown jewel of the district. And I wanted them to feel that way, that you are not being put off, that we care about you. And this is a place to grow and rebuild and get that hope back. And so we have what we call the apartment. And this was something we dreamed. It has everything an apartment would have except for the bedroom. Thank you very much. We did leave that part out. So it has a full bath, shower, has washer and dryer, so the kids can do laundry. They do earn time at the foosball table, which they absolutely love. That balcony you saw is off of this classroom. They have outdoor seating because oftentimes they just need to step out. And that's something we teach them, like walk away from it instead of exploding. And so so they have the balcony where they can go out, and there's outdoor seating. The Fleskys had several visits with Paul and I. And then when I was talking about this space, and they really caught on to our vision and to the kids who we serve. And so they personally purchased all of the contents of this apartment. So we were just like blown away. They had some money left over, and they purchased weight equipment for our weight room that is actually our storm shelter in the gymnasium. So that's super exciting. We can't wait for that to get there. But just giving our kids the opportunity to have this amazing space. I call it the Taj. When we do an interview with a family about a student coming on board, I'm like, I asked my teacher, are you ready to give the tour of the Taj? And she says yes. And I tell them, once you go see it, you'll want to say yes to our opportunity that we're offering you. So it's a great place. We have kiddos who are completing courses. They come to school, they'll skip their regular high school and show up for us. Now we work on that, but it does at least get them in school and get us in touch with them, and so that we can keep up with their needs. We have a guy right now who we're helping get his driver permit. And so helping him walk through all the steps of that. And he has incarcerated parents. And so we're like, okay, so now we need a social security card. So let's work on that, and just teaching them how to navigate some of those pieces that they are not getting that opportunity to do. So that's our Taj, and it's amazing, and we love it, and the kids love it, and they're doing an amazing job taking care of it. And this is where we cook our evening school's dinner, and so the kids get to help in making the dinner for the night school kids.
Well, and I'd like to add that what will happen too is a student will get placed in this location due to something that happened at the high school, but once maybe a suspension is over, they won't be ready to go back. So they'll stay with us. And then sometimes too, they'll move over down across the building to the application program because they made some improvements. Well, I know we ran right up against 8 o'clock, but if we've got time for any questions, I don't know how, or if this meeting needs to adjourn, those of you who are in charge of it, we're here to answer questions, or if you need to stop us and go on to close the meeting down, whatever works. But thank you for giving us this opportunity. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We can take the time to entertain some questions. The people who need to leave will just leave. And so feel free to ask away. Anybody's got questions.
I heard that you have an interest in having a garden outside the school. You've been in contact with the OSU Extension Center and the Master Gardener Program.
Yeah. So did you want me to comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were pretty excited. We had reached out to OXU Extension to see what, kind of partnership could develop. And we're 1 block south of the county fairgrounds. So one of their staff came down and has looked at, we were able to get a piece of land just north of our building. I don't know if it's about a half an acre, but the kids play out there. We've realized we'll need that for kind of an elementary recess area even after the playground's done. But down on one end, we're looking at starting a garden. They're working on getting there's water on that piece of property, but figuring out where it's at and trying to get a water line down to the east end of it. So we're really excited. And our science teacher just wrote a foundation grant and was awarded $700 some for pieces of that, a little storage shed for equipment and some seeds and plants and those kind of things.
Well, let us know how we can help you through the Master Gardener and OSU Extension.
Okay, thank you. And what was your last name?
Barker, Barker.
Joanne Barker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question. My mom was a high school teacher. At first she taught history because she was a permanent substitute. This is many, many years ago. And then she became a full-time German teacher. But one of her frustrations, I remember, was that students often failed just because they didn't turn in work. And I just wonder how you guys address that kind of thing. I remember when my daughter was in high school, sometimes when grades were slipping, it was because she just didn't turn in her work. And I never understood that.
Well, so we're, because the state of Oklahoma asked that you keep ratios down to 15 or less, per teacher. And so it's harder for a student to slip through the cracks. They're going to have to really be making a willful, they're making a willful choice, whether it's Dimensions or regular high school, but it's easier for a staff member to really communicate with them, talk with parents. Sometimes what we'll do is, right now that we finished a grading period, we are just doing it incomplete so that the student still has time to turn things in, being more flexible to give extended time.
So for us, we also let them do the assignment maybe in a different format. So if they're struggling with the writing piece of it or answering, then we'll sit down and talk to them. And because the ultimate goal is that they have the knowledge of the content, not that they've turned in a piece of paper with their name on it. So it is about, and that's a paradigm shift, and so that we have a special staff that understand that. So definitely allowing them different ways to show us the knowledge that we want them to have.
And I think the one common factor with the high school where it does get difficult with the missed work is if the student won't come to school. If we have a student that's just gone a lot, that's the hardest one, I think, for any school to overcome. But if they're coming, then like Linda said, we can show, that we understand it, in multiple ways. And then we're also able to, it's harder for the student just to, in a class of 30 at the high school, it's kind of easier to kind of slip through the cracks.
Hi, it's Jim Costello. Comment, if you would, about the importance of your SRO officer. What does that person do? How do they help you out?
I think, I feel like with all that's been going on in our country, I feel like they do a great job of just changing the narrative, just building relationships. They are not there to, search students or provide discipline or, it's, I don't know. He's a young guy who grew up in went to high school at Capitol Hill, grew up in Oklahoma City. And so a Hispanic, Rafael Hernandez. And I don't know, he just, relationships are his key. And I think that, but then also I think just in the day and age we live in America, where there's been some instances in schools that have been pretty tragic, he's also provides a feeling of security and safety, for staff and students. Linda, did you want to add to that?
Yes, and so in my building, like he is there building relationships with kiddos. So he'll ride on the van when we take kids places, because that gives him an opportunity to have some conversations one-on-one. He'll have the kids adore him. He's helped us with so many different little things. Like I just he's in the cafeteria, he's in the classrooms. Like he doesn't even have a spot where he sits all the time because he's out with the kids so much. The middle school kiddos were doing a dinosaur assignment. And so he did one too. And then they presented to all the elementary kiddos. And so he's just part of the community and the culture. And like Paul said, that's just changing that perception. And it's someone they can go to. Because he's downstairs, oftentimes Paul has high school kiddos that when they come in the door, they seek him out because they want to talk to him about things that are going on that they need help with. We had a female student who had a ex-boyfriend who was stalking her. And so she came and talked and met with him. And the bonus is he speaks Spanish too. So we have that layer that we are able with him. And so he was able to talk with her and we got a picture of the person. And so she felt safe coming to school because she knew that he was there and he had the picture there for us at the front door and all of that. So he's just someone they go to and the kids love. And so he is very visible and always out there with the kiddos. He knows every one of their names, which is amazing. And like Paul says, he's not there for discipline, and we don't use him in that fashion. We do use, I will say, hey, I need, can you research this? Because this is what I've heard about a situation. So he does have some avenues that we don't have to find out information sometimes, but he's just a real key piece to feeling safe, secure, and then changing that, what's been going on in the world.
And this, for those that don't know, if, for instance, in a school, there's reasonable suspicion that a student has drugs on them, at Norman High, Norman North, and Dimensions, any of our schools, it's not the officer's job to all of a sudden do the search. That is a school issue. Now, if, in doing as a principal, if we are, and we don't do pat downs, we look through a student's bag or have them empty their pockets. If we were to, if evidence shows up at a level that needs law enforcement, then of course you're involving them in the process. But they are not there to, just because we smell weed on a student to all of a sudden, we do not turn those over to law enforcement. We handle that. But then of course, there's times that you do need their help. But yep, we love Raphael. And we really liked the idea of continuing the relationship with Cleveland County Sheriff's Department because they typically help schools that are out in the rural areas, but they're located right here in Norman. And since Norman police have all of the right other sites, it just seemed like also a great connection for the Sheriff's Department to have a partnership with one of the sites in Norman, since they really have a heart to serve also.
Busking, I've got a question concerning your applications. Not the process, because you were talking about how you kind of screen those, but do you have way more legitimate applications than you have room for students, or Are you, I mean, how far behind or how does that work?
It goes in waves. You know, I've seen at times where there's just a long waiting list. And then there's other times that somebody applies and you can get them in the next 9 weeks. So I like to say that we can start a student, you know, 365 days a year. Well, not the summertime, but you know, we can start a student at any time, but we typically like to start them at the beginning of each 9 weeks. And so, you know, I've got a stack of applications on my desk right now I need to go through because we'll be starting soon after spring break. So it hasn't, I'd say this year there hasn't been a huge waiting list for students that are, you know, need to be here. And so most people we interview, they need to be here, but the timing, sometimes it's timing. For example, if you've got, one thing you really want to be careful about is if you have 2 students that have had a lot of issues at the regular high school, you've got to be careful on your timing, because if they come into our small setting and one of them was harassing the other one, you know, then you've just, you know, so maybe you put one of them in the morning and the other one just comes in the afternoon, things like that. And then a lot of times there's a lot less drama over here just because they're so small. Drama, you know, drama in any place, workplace, schools, happens where there's not good supervision, you know, and well, that's the wrong way to put that. Norman High, Norman North do a great job supervising. It's just they're so big. So there's pockets of places where students can, you know, spur that kind of thing on. So I answered more than your question. I got to watch myself. I get going.
Thank you.
Other questions?
And we got all the time in the world, you know, we're with kids home, working from home today. Linda and I are, we'll be busy today. I've got plenty to do, but it's not like kids are walking in the building here, and Linda's zooming from home. And,
Yeah.
and so we've got time.
Could we get your email or some way to contact you? This is Mary Sully. I had talked to Linda about maybe sending you all some resource lists that I do for our food pantry. And I would love to give you some styrofoam cups for your cafeteria.
Mary, I can send out Paul and Linda's contact information to the club.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. Because I know.
Hey, I'd like a shout out for those that don't know, you know, well, first off, our curriculum coordinators in the district are so supportive and helpful in helping us look outside the box. But Jane Purcell had a background back in the day working with an alternative school in Florida, and I think specifically with teen parents. And so anytime we've needed input on something we're doing in social studies, Jane's been a great resource and really understands how things need to look different in our setting. And, you know, we pride ourselves in a strong academic, you know, experience for our students, and Jane's a big part of that.
Yeah, with my background with dropout prevention, it was a teen parent program, but I did that work for 5 years, and I'm here to tell you that Paul and Linda are the real deal in dropout prevention and the work that they do with these at-risk students. You guys are amazing, and I'm just so proud that Dimensions is part of Norman Public Schools. You guys are awesome. So it's hard work, but it's important work, and you guys are doing it really well.
Hey, Jane, Kent's doing another Generation Citizen this spring, by the way. And yeah, he got that going even with COVID. Generation Citizen, for those that are, since I said you might wonder what is that, it's a nonprofit that connects with schools, and what they do is they usually bring in some students from OU, but with COVID they haven't been able to. They find an issue in the community, and then they do a project and a presentation at the Capitol during Civics Day, and they give out awards. And so we've had, you know, just lots of different projects through the years. One of them was on finding a new home for alternative school. One year they did one on building a relationship between the community and the police. And then they'll bring in speakers to talk to the students, and then the kids put together a presentation. And we even had, just had some really wonderful experiences. And that's something that's kind of in Jane's world.
Oh, I'll have to get over and talk with Kent about what they're doing this year. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Linda and Paul, for being with us today. Dimension sounds like an awesome program and such a benefit to our community. We are so fortunate and have a much greater appreciation for what Dimensions is and what they do, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. So thank you all for joining us this morning.
I'd like to add, if you ever, any of you would like to come by for a tour, we can't do the whole group at once, but if you, and like, let's say there was 2 or 3 of you, because you would rather come with a friend, Linda and I'd be happy to, so, we can have visitors in the building. We try to limit it, but if it's just a couple of people at a time, and you called ahead, we'd love to take you on a live tour through the building. So
Nice. Thank you. All right, Rotarians, have a great week and go out and open the opportunities. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.